I will bet you that if you interviewed 1,000 business owners, a very high percentage of them would tell you that they do not have an owner's manual, an owner's handbook, something that teaches them how to manage their company. They've learned some hard work and sweat equity. Hi, my name is Chris Mosca. I'm the Vice President and Managing Director for the Survey Department at American Management Services. I'm going to ask you to watch us talk today a little bit about bad managers.
This week's video stems from a CNBC article on Jim Koch of Boston Brew Company and Sam Adams. Link in the description below. In the article, Jim discusses how he recognized that he wasn't a good manager. He says, quote, "I learned early on that I was not a good manager. I'm okay with that. There are people who are good managers. I'm not one of them. I'm not really great at follow-up. Not that great at details. I'm not that organized. And I'm not a real respecter of process. I don't try to be a good manager. I try to make sure that I've got a good manager or CEO. It's a lot easier to hire good managers than good leaders. My job is to be leading the company, and you've got to lead from the front."
So there's a couple things that jump right out. First of all, it takes a very strong person to admit what they're not good at. So being a good owner doesn't mean automatically you're going to be a good manager. I think it takes, as I said a moment ago, strength and humility to say I'm good or bad at something and what should I focus on. One thing that I'll disagree with, and I'll backtrack, it's easier to hire good managers. It's not easy to hire a good manager. It's hard to find and hire good management. And it doesn't happen by mistake. It happens by the things that owner shared he was not good at. And that is process, that is discipline, that is defined protocols, that is training people to execute effectively. I would bet, without having met him, as open and as honest as he sounded in that statement you read to me, he's the kind of person that knows that he's really good at multitasking. He's really good at vision and leadership, but he's not good at the definition and the drilling down to a granular level that gives people an ability to succeed. Most leaders or managers or owners that aren't good at it is because they can multitask and visualize 15, 20, 30 different things, and they're spewing that information to their staff, and then the staff gets lost, can't do it, can't execute it, and they get frustrated, and they're afraid to tell the owner, "You didn't teach me what to do." So it seems like he realized that in himself and realized, I need to get out of the way. I'm better off at the big picture, the big visionary kind of stuff, than I am at getting down to that granular level of teaching people how to do their jobs effectively. I applaud his professional humility. I think in what we do every day, working with business owners, we get to meet people that during our survey process, which is the area of the company that I work in, we have to have conversations with ownership about the fact that they probably should consider getting out of their own way. Somebody might be great at sales or great at operations, but not good at running the other sides of the business. So we meet people that we have to have an objective analytical process. It gets a little personal. We have to get people to look at what they're not good at. I'll give you a different example, because that's about ownership. Oftentimes, and you know this, over 60% of our clients are family-owned businesses, which tends to almost assure that the next generation is going to grow into a management role. It certainly doesn't mean they're trained to manage. So there's times where we'll go into a place where so-and-so grows up and all of a sudden he or she is now the next VP, the next sales manager, the next ops manager. And they haven't been trained for it, and they think they're entitled to it because of their last name. So those are things that happen an awful lot in family-owned businesses. You know me well enough to know that having a filter is not a problem for me because I don't have one. However, it's never fun to have an awkward conversation. So what we've found, and we've been very blessed here, we've done over 10,000 engagements over 38 years, and you learn certain things. And one of the things that we've tried to learn is to be professionally confrontational, but not to be rude. And when we have to have those kind of conversations, instead of telling somebody, because that's what you asked me, how do you tell somebody that? We don't. We ask them about what they think their role, their responsibility, their performance metrics should be. We ask them how they're executing against it. And we kind of have people self-critique themselves. And sometimes it's a lot easier for somebody to come to an understanding that I'm not as good at this as I should be. An awful lot of times it's not because of commitment or intellect. It's simply that they haven't been trained. Just because I grew up in the business doesn't mean I'm trained to be the CFO. Just because my father owned a construction company and I laid brick as a kid doesn't mean I know how to be the estimator, right? So an awful lot of times we have to have conversations with people about, are they trained to do the job they're in? Are they trained to manage? Or have they functionally learned how to work hard? It's a double-edged sword. If it means, is it good to be the person who has to manage each department in the company? That would be that term that no one likes to talk about called micromanagement. If the second side of the sword is being a good steward or being a good manager of the company, its facilities, its personnel, its ability to succeed, yeah, it's important to be a good manager. But I will bet you that if you interviewed 1,000 business owners, a very high percentage of them would tell you that they do not have an owner's manual, an owner's handbook, something that teaches them how to manage their company. They've learned some hard work and sweat equity. Under the supposition, again, that we're talking about people with aptitude and capability, if that's the case, if somebody has the mental acumen and the work ethic, then a differentiation between what you just asked me is always attitude. If I have to prove I'm right, if I have to be the smartest guy in the room, I'm going to go from a fair to mediocre manager to a bad manager because I have to be right instead of having to do what's right. You don't mean besides drinking in the morning before they come to work, right? Having a little fun. What are some steps? I think it's always important for people to self-critique. I think it's important for people to surround themselves with talent that doesn't have to be yes or no men, sycophants, people that are okay and are empowered to challenge. So if people that I count on can't come to me and say, Chris, you're being a horse's butt, or what the hell is wrong with you today? Or why are we doing it this way? By the way, it doesn't mean I have to agree with them, but if they won't challenge me, I won't challenge myself. The second thing is to wake up every morning knowing that you need to learn something new, that you don't have all the answers, you're not the smartest guy in the room. And if people do that every day, they'll learn something. Look, Jim Valvano said every day you should get up, you should laugh, you should cry, and you should have good memories. You said something like that, and it's very true. At American Manager, we're blessed because every day we work with clients and we get to learn something from them every day. We get to learn what they do right. We can add it to our portfolio. We get to learn how they treat people, what they do for their community, their church, their neighborhood, and it's wonderful. And we also get to learn what's getting in their way of being a success. And if you want to learn every day, there's no reason why you can't be good at everything you do. I'm not sure what it felt like when you asked me the question. A manager to me is somebody that has tasks to be responsible for. So a manager to me means, for lack of a better term, a foreman or a department head, right? A leader to me is somebody who I think would be above that person, okay? So I think a good leader has management skills and teaches his manager how to do their job. I think a good manager understands the core competencies of their role, and one is how to get it done right, which is the operational standards. That needs to be defined by somebody above him or her. And then the other side of that responsibility is to get it done right and to hit their profit plan. Because getting it done right and losing money doesn't make sense. So I think a good leader teaches a good manager how to do those things. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you saw here, please click like. It'd be awesome if you would share with friends and family and business colleagues. And please click subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Thank you.